Live from Chicago, it's Chris Sells His Soul. I'm your host, Chris Bogue, and this is my show on LinkedIn Live, where I have conversations with cool people who will help you work more creatively. Today, my guest is Heidi Briones. Heidi, please introduce yourself and tell my audience where on the internet can they find you.
Hey there, my name's Heidi Briones. I live in Portland, Oregon with my wife and my 4 cats, and you can find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on my website, ladypolaris.io, and on shows like this from time to time. My friend Chris.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, Heidi. Everybody at home, if you do not know me, my name is Chris Bogue. I coach mercifully short video content that drives revenue. Sometimes that's for sales. I teach sales prospecting. Sometimes that's for content marketers. And I'm also a writer and comedian. I do a lot of sketch comedy, a lot of that on LinkedIn. You can find my coaching and digital products at chrisbogue.io. And the best way to follow me is to go on LinkedIn and ring my bell. I'm a content creator. I put new content out there every day. And today's episode is called How to Be Annoying, because sales and marketing are famously professions where you have to annoy everybody. And that is what Heidi is here to talk about today. So we are going to get deep into how to be annoying in a way that's going to make you money. But speaking of which, first I have to introduce today's sponsors. So we have 2 sponsors today. Today's show is sponsored by Enable Minutes and Allego. So Allego, oh yeah, right. It's reversing my camera right now, so it's hard to point out. You got it. So Allego, sales enablement content to get your team trained. If you run a sales team, Heidi knows this. Switching back and forth from a million different programs is going to kill your team's productivity. You want to have all your best conversational intelligence and up-to-date training and insights from your team all in one place so you can be efficient with your training. So if you run a team and you need a sales enablement solution, check out Allego. And also Enable Minutes. Enable Minutes is short sales enablement related content covering everything about sales. I do stuff on there sometimes. It's super cool. We have a super hilarious promo from them that you're going to be seeing at the halfway mark. But before we begin, I want to also say hi to our audience. So we have over 420 people signed up today to be here in the audience. So if you are watching this live, go ahead and leave a comment. Heidi and I do not know you're here unless you leave a comment. So you can let us know where you're watching from. You can let us know if you are annoying or if you're not annoying. And also you can ask us any questions you want to ask about LinkedIn, about sales, about any of the comments we were talking about today. Leave a comment, ask us your questions, and we might just answer it during the show. So Heidi, I want to jump right into the thick of it.
Let's do it.
You are an entrepreneur. You are a queen of cold calling. You are a former candidate for political office. So you have spent your adult life cold calling strangers every day. What is wrong with you, and why do you do this?
Good question. I wasn't expecting that one. What's wrong with me? Where do I start? Essentially I was a teacher for many, many years. And that, naturally led me to, want to communicate with people, learn how to communicate the best that I can. I taught English as a second language. So every single word that I said, the tone, cadence was super important as a teacher. And when I decided I wanted to leave that profession, I had tried sales in the past and I jumped back into it. I was like, well, I like talking to people. I like teaching people things. I like sort of educating them and having conversations that are interesting. And that led me into sales. So I did door to door for quite some time. I did travel sales. I've done all kinds of different things, insurance, B2B, and sales coaching now. So, I mean, everything's wrong with me. Everything's wrong with me.
No. And it's like, hey, we've got some people here. Jake's got the right idea. Jake says he's trying to be more annoying. And this is what Heidi and I are here for.
We can
We're
help.
here to teach you that you're not going to do anything in life unless somebody is annoyed by you, right? I'm having Heidi on here because when you do sales, like sales is one of the most hated professions on earth and has been since the dawn of time, and for good reason. You know, there's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of scams, there's a lot of pressure. So sales is all a game of like, how do you build a rapport with people? How do you find the right people to talk to in the first place? If you're reaching out to people who might be interested in what you sell, you're actually not annoying them. Really what's annoying is when you are like pushing something that somebody does not want onto them. But yeah, no matter what you sell, if you don't pick up the phone, if you don't go talk to people, you're not going to make it happen. You're not going to hit your number. You're going to get fired, and it's tough. So I guess I'll start with, so you've got this legendary status that you're building right now as this cold caller, right? You're friends with Josh Braun. Josh Braun, apparently fan of Chris Bogue now. He just said he went down the rabbit hole earlier today and watched a bunch of my comedy. But he's a guy he's a sales trainer. He's known for having this like silky smooth voice. And he says that you are the smoothest cold caller on LinkedIn. So how did you become a smooth cold caller? And were you always a smooth cold caller?
I think he said ever, first of all, not just on LinkedIn, but okay. How did I become a smooth cold caller? I got a lot of bad advice from really poor sales managers on, how to do it the wrong way, and learned the hard way to do the opposite of
what
they said. Just pushy, overcoming objections. I think it was, I don't know. There's all these like acronyms that sales managers would teach, and like basically just constantly be overcoming people's objections, constantly be pushing again, constantly ask again, assume the sale, be very assumptive, be very pressury, tricks and tactics like hide your phone number and, triple tap, all kinds of stuff like that. And yeah, sure, it worked for a period of time, but I mean, the thing is, it makes you feel like garbage, and it's not fun to work that type of way. So I just sort of reverse engineered my own kind of style after studying people that I did like. If I didn't like my sales manager, I just go find a sales trainer or like a book or a coach that I did like, and just listen and consume all of their stuff, and completely reverse engineered how I want to be, and like to be natural and to just sound like myself when I'm talking to people. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But at least I'm having a good time and I'm being myself and I feel good about it at the end of the day. And it works. You have more conversations when people feel like you're a genuine person that's just trying to talk to them and
I want more about them. I want you to clarify for the audience.
Yeah.
When you say triple tap, bosses told you to triple tap. I want you to explain to the audience what that means.
So you triple tap, okay, so you get a call on like your iPhone, you get one call, and then, it's just like one ring, and then you're like, what is that? And then, another call comes in, and again, it's like one ring, so this would be a triple tap, and then you call again. So you're either like trying to bypass the iPhone, block, because if you call twice, it'll go through it, or you're just trying to get them to be like, who the heck is calling me, so that they pick up. So it's just a tactic that can work, and people pick up, but they're going to be pretty annoyed, right? And when they pick up.
Yeah, because they think that there's like an emergency happening, and like, it's the hospital and their child is there or something.
Somebody's in jail, who knows?
But yeah, this is why I wanted to bring you in, Heidi, because I've heard recordings of your cold calling. You are a smooth operator. You have this very casual style about you. And I have a very casual style on video where I'm not trying to make it a big occasion. I'm trying to come in there as an equal and talk to them on their level. So like, how did you switch that? How did you switch from being like this pushy, desperate salesperson who doesn't take no for an answer to someone who can just call up a stranger and just kind of strike up a conversation out of nowhere without a lot of gimmicks? Like, how did that change happen for you?
I mean, I think it's just when something's not working, when you're listening to everything that your sales managers are telling you and it's not working, and they just tell you to like double down, and like keep doing
Do it harder.
do more. And you're like, okay, it's not working. So I'm just going to do the complete opposite of that and just like see what happens. It's not working anyway, right? Like I hate it. It's not working. So like, what if I just try to do the opposite? What if they tell me, they don't want to do something? I'm like, awesome. That's cool. Like, it's totally fine. It's just the complete opposite. Like, overcome the objection, don't overcome it, lean into it, cover it up front. Just be like, hey, you probably don't want to do this. I get it. Like, why would you? That kind of a thing. And I mean, it can work well with, B2B is what I found. Cause you're just coming in at their level. You're understanding their world, who they are, and you're not, trying to pressure them as some salesperson. You're just another professional doing business with them.
So tell me a couple steps further into that conversation.
Yeah.
Where does that, so someone's like, you're like, hey, it's me, Heidi, you got a second to chat? And they're like, no, I don't want to chat with you. I hate you. And you're like, awesome. Like, what happens then? Because I think the audience,
I mean, if nothing really happens then, right? like if you can't open the conversation, then you can't open the conversation. I mean, there still has to be like some volume involved. You have to be, still reaching out to enough people. Some people are just going to say no. But I think what I found is just being myself. So like, how would I call someone that's a friend of mine? I mean, it's controversial, but I'll just say like, yeah, how's your day going? How's your Thursday going? How's your morning? That kind of a thing. Just kind of open it up and see how they're feeling. I mean, if they're in a bad mood, when you ask them kind of, what's up and how's it going, then that's probably not, that's somebody that you probably don't want to talk to. That's like, it's like, all right, they're not having a good day. I'll call them another day. So that's kind of what I like to do. I check the vibe. And then if they're like, yeah, I'm doing great. How about you? Then, I'll ask them, hey, did you have a minute? Did you have a sec? Just the same way you would talk to anybody. I mean, it's not like if I called my friend, I would say the same thing.
So I have actually a little, I don't know if this is considered like a sales technique, but so I'm an improv guy. I was an improviser. Yeah. I've done a lot of improv. Like I did a lot of shows at the Second City. It is ingrained in me. And in improv, it's all about this idea of playing games. You don't tell jokes. You play games with people. You make a game move. And you have to accept what the other person does. Yeah. So
you lean in. Yeah.
I discovered my best move was dropping a game move that's very easy for them to play with. So here's an example. I'd call somebody up and I'd be very casual. I'd just be like, hey, Heidi, how's it going? It's Chris Bogue. Like, how's your day going? Or something like that. And if they say, oh, it's going fine. How's your morning going? I would say something kind of weird that's short. Mm-hmm. I would be like, you know what? We got donuts in the break room and I am not supposed to eat them. So I'm trying to resist. Can I tell you why I'm calling? And just like that one little, like, I'll throw that thing about food out there, or my best one. And you can steal this from me, audience, Girl Scout cookies. I always mention food. And if you look actually on TikTok and YouTube, food-related channels are some of the most highly watched channels of video that exist because it does not matter what language you speak. Everybody eats food and everybody has feelings about it. So if they'd ask me, oh, how's your morning going? I'd say, you know what? I got this box of Girl Scout cookies. I'm trying not to eat the whole thing. Now, some people are just going to be like, screw you. Like, but that specific thing that I mentioned Girl Scout cookies. Some percentage of people is going to go like, oh, I like the Thin Mints. And I just go, I'm not a Thin Mint guy, but respect. And without realizing it, we have played this game together. I left it's like leaving a little thread on your shirt and waiting for someone to pull on it, but once they do that, then you can actually talk to them like a person, So I guess my question for you is like, so let's take this back to your politics days. So you were running for office, and I think the only thing people hate more than salespeople are politicians.
I just love being annoying. It's only professions.
Hey, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Like, there is a conventional wisdom that you can't change a person's mind, and to some degree, I believe that. But politics is about like the art of change. And so is sales. You're convincing somebody to do something that they weren't doing before. So like, how do you get them to put down those defenses and actually talk about what's real?
Kind of the same way. I mean, my whole campaign was focused on me just being a regular person and not a politician, which is true. So I would talk to them about things they did care about. I wasn't trying to change their mind. I might try to change their perspective on it, on the solution. I might be like, hey, this is the problem, right? Yeah, that's the problem. You know, there's whatever, there's, you know, unhoused people, there's trash on the street, there's graffiti. These are all things that you can be like, yeah, that's a problem, and then pose a potential solution. You know, and my idea, well, basically my whole campaign was focused on ideas. So I would have, you know, like a different spin on it, like how we could solve it without, you know, spending money, without, it was like kind of like just very populist, appealing to most everybody. And I would just message, you know, it to them and what they cared about. So it wasn't really that difficult to me. I mean, when I ran, it was difficult just because it was in the middle of COVID. So it was just a lot going on and I couldn't get out in person. So I had to do it all online. But everything that, you know, was in my campaign was all messaged to people's real lives. As me as a regular person, I've worked the same type of jobs you've worked. I've worked in a call center. You know, I've worked in a factory. I was a teacher. Not a politician at all. Like, I just think that there's some problems, and since I understand them so deeply, I have some solutions that to offer to you. And that's the same thing as sales. I mean, you're like, I understand where you're at. I know what you're going through. I got something that's kind of cool. Check it out. You know, vote for me if you want. Book a meeting if you want. It's the same kind of vibe.
Yeah. So I think this is something important. I think this is something everybody in the audience, you know, if you're not somebody who's super comfortable cold calling, if you're not somebody who's used to just being rejected constantly because you're running your own business or being a salesperson or something like that, sales really isn't about changing people's minds. It's about creating relationships. It's about opening doors so people are willing to listen to you if and when you can help solve their problems. But the best salespeople I know are masters of disqualification.
Mm-hmm.
They're good at realizing when somebody doesn't need what they do. And, you know, Heidi, I listen to you talk. My thing always goes back to an improv thing. I have learned it's very hard for people to get angry at you when you agree with them. Like,
Oh yeah.
when I would call, I haven't cold called in years. I'll call a little bit. Usually I'll start the relationship up somehow else and then I'll call. But yeah, back when I was like carrying a quota, I would call people and they'd be like, is this a cold call? And I'm like, what would you think if the answer was yes? And they'd be like, oh, I hate cold calls. And I would just be like, look, me too. Like, I can't even believe you picked up the phone. Like, that's amazing. You know, thank you for making an exception for me. Can I just tell you why I called? You know, and it's just like, just that act of being like, oh man, you know what? I hate cold calls too. I do not answer them. And I'm amazed that you did. Like, thank you. What are they going to do? You know, they're not
Right.
expecting that. And
And what's the worst thing that they could do anyway? You know, hang up, yell at you for a minute, and then hang up. I mean, you know,
they'll go complain on Facebook or on LinkedIn.
well,
They all go
for it. I mean, you know.
the sales leaders who I can't. And like, that's the thing too, is like Heidi and I love talking shit. And we're going to get into this more about where like sometimes, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have a boss breathing down your neck, if you go out there and say the stuff that like you're not supposed to say because it's too real, like some amount of people are going to be into it, you know, and like
Those are your people. That's who you're looking for.
yeah.
I mean,
But I mean,
well,
like,
you can't appeal to everybody. Same with politics. You're not going to appeal to everybody. You like go in with your campaign message, and you know it's not going to appeal to everybody. You're not going to have like every single freaking person vote for you. It's never happened. You know, you're not going to have like 100%.
no.
Like half the people don't even vote at all, right? So you're already down to like 50%, and then you have like then they're split. So you're like, okay, well, who can I reach? Like, where are the people that I can? Who are my people that I can get the maximum, you know, amount of support out of? So I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Which actually, you know, as while we're on the subject of just being obnoxious and doing our thing, Heidi, I think it's a great time for Gimme Gimme. You ready for Gimme Gimme? Okay. So this is the part of the show where my guest and I like to address a misconception that people have about LinkedIn. So some people mistakenly think that the purpose of LinkedIn is just to have fun. It's just to have value. It's just to selflessly help others. And that's actually not correct. LinkedIn was actually the only social platform that was created exclusively to make money. It was designed to be a place where you could post your resume, do some networking, and get paid work. And we like to honor that spirit. So we like to take a moment in the middle of the show to go ask my audience for exactly what we want. Gotta fix this tie first. It's really hard when my camera is reversed. Guess that's just my way of saying, Heidi, are you ready to start Gimme Gimme?
Let's do it.
Hello, it's Boss Bogue here for another episode of Gimme Gimme, the part of the show where I ask you for money. Today, we're brought to you by two lovely sponsors. Gimme Gimme is brought to you by Allego. Sales enablement training for your team, a one-stop shop where they can get all the best insights, all the best conversational intelligence, all the best training intelligence in one place. Your SDRs can't even make 10 cold calls in a day because they got too many distractions. Your complicated training program that you bought, nobody's using it. I know, I've done it before. I've trained people. It is hard, especially when they're going to multiple screens. Check out Allego. It is the one-stop shop where you can go. You can gather all the best insights from your best closers, the people on your team who are doing it at the best level, and easily distribute those training materials with the other people on your team. Get them up to speed by minimizing the amount of meetings they have to go to and minimizing the amount of different programs they're going to have to log into because it's a nightmare. So you can see that Allego QR code on the screen. Go ahead and scan that if you want to check out Allego. And we're also sponsored by Enable Minutes. So Enable Minutes is short, attention-grabbing, and actionable content to help teach you sales enablement. So sales enablement, if you don't know what it is, it's very complicated. It's having to look at sales from a much bigger view. You're thinking about the tools you're using. You're thinking about the strategies you're using. It is very hard to convey a lot of this information all at once. It's very dense. So you need to follow Enable Minutes. It is short, amazing advice from the top voices on LinkedIn. I do stuff with Enable Minutes sometimes. Will they reach out to Heidi? They should, because she's amazing and they could ask her all sorts of questions. But no matter what, you should scan that QR code right now to follow Enable Minutes. So, Heidi, you got my audience here. They're hanging on your every word. What are you going to ask them for?
I'm going to ask you guys to check out my website, ladypolaris.io. If you have a sales team with reps that just hate cold calling, they're not having any conversations, it's horrible, so they just stop doing it completely, or they're not getting any conversations going and it's going nowhere. I believe I could help a certain percentage of people to be more relaxed on the phone, have more fun, be themselves, and book more meetings, drive more pipeline, as a result. Also, if you have a bunch of tools that are not connected, I've been learning APIs and would be happy to connect them for you if you're a small business owner, that type of thing, and would just like a little help with automation. Maybe that's not really your thing. So I can help a little on the front end and a little bit on the back end as well. And also always available for political consulting as well. And lesbian consulting too, actually. I've actually gotten paid to essentially give people advice on what lesbians like. So that's a really weird one, but if you have that, I'm available.
Yeah. A woman of many talents. And Heidi, I believe, is underselling herself here. I've received the cold calls that your SDRs are making out their audience. They are dog shit. They are absolute dog shit because sales leaders who haven't picked up the phone for 20 years are giving them outdated advice. Okay? It is a different world now. It is not boiler room anymore. It is very easy for people to hang up the phone or not pick up in the first place if you don't know how to talk to them. You need to talk to Heidi for better cold calling. And guess what? You need to hire Chris Bogue too, because you don't have mercifully short video content, and that is very, very important. Folks, you see us out here. You see me and Heidi getting the laughs all the time. You see consistently high value content out there all the time on LinkedIn. This stuff doesn't just happen, okay? What is it going to take for you to realize that I have a very special set of skills that you do not have, okay? LinkedIn branding coaches, I'm sorry, you don't have 420 people at your live streams. You are not out there making the content. It has to be delightful. It has to be educational. And most importantly, you have to interact with your audience and understand them and give them an unforgettable experience that they're not going to forget. So I do training. I do consulting.
Yeah.
I have a 90-day roadmap that you can do. I am coaching content creators right now who are killing it on LinkedIn. Their brand is exploding, and it's because they're out there doing stuff that is short and fun, and that is exactly what the algorithm wants right now. So check it out. You can go meet me. You can go check out my website at chrisbogue.io. I have courses you can buy. I have coaching packages. Check it out. Heidi, do you have anything else to add while you have my audience?
Yeah, I mean, if you're on here, you probably suck at Twitter, and I can help you with that. Got 24,000 followers there, and I know how to grow a Twitter account. So if you need help growing your Twitter, you can't figure it out, you think it's annoying, you don't want to be on there all day, I love it, and I can grow any account. So let me know.
Yeah, she has skills. So check out Heidi. Go to ladypolaris.io. Check out Allego at allego.com. Check me out at chrisbogue.io. This has been Gimme Gimme. Iggy, roll the tape.
Look at all this sales enablement content I need to learn to do my job. I probably just won't do it.
Sound familiar? You need sales enablement training for your team, but most sales enablement content is long and shitty. That's why you need Enable Minutes.
What's that name?
Enable Minutes.
One more time.
Enable Minutes.
Oh, Enable Minutes. What's Enable Minutes?
Enable Minutes is expert advice from the top sellers on LinkedIn. Short, engaging video content to keep you up to date on all aspects of sales enablement.
My SDRs won't pick up the phone.
Enable Minutes.
I waste too much money on expensive programs for my tech stack.
Enable Minutes.
I want to be a better manager, but I'm kind of a toxic asshole.
Enable Minutes will, they'll do what they can.
Order in this court! The jury has reached their verdict. I sentence you to follow Enable Minutes by clicking the link in the description or scanning this QR code on the screen. I'm seriously gonna sit here until you do it. All right, it's an amazing program, and sometimes I'm on it. Just take out your phone, switch it to camera mode, and scan the QR code. Wow, I just followed Enable Minutes, and it was so easy. Ain't it the truth? This promo is adjourned. Hello?
Is this Mr. Sherber?
It sure is. What can I help you with, brother?
Hello. You were not expecting this call. Do you have 17 seconds to
Hang
learn
on a
about
second.
Mercifully Short?
Is this a cold call?
I don't know.
You. Never call this number again.
Oh no! Another unsuccessful cold call. You probably don't have time to fuck off.
I got a quota to hit.
Are you spending hours every week cold calling and cold emailing but not seeing results?
There's gotta be a better way.
Introducing the complete guide to selling on video. Whether you're new to sales or a President's Club member, this fast and fun course will teach you to efficiently create short, customized videos that get results. The complete guide to selling on video is not sold in stores. Visit chrisbogue.io and use promo code GIMMEGIMME to take $50 off while supplies last. Don't delay. Get noticed today.
I love it.
All right, we are back. Yeah, so this is how I'm a class clown. I was always a class clown. Humor was the way I got like people to accept me when I was an awkward, sensitive kid. Somebody pointed out on my sketch, they're like, "Chris, were you a middle child?" I was like, definitely.
Isn't that obvious?
So, yeah, but I wanted for this second part to talk here about like there's very like human reasons why people don't pick up the phone. We literally, we're not designed to handle this much rejection. Like we are human animals. You think evolutionary, like from an evolution perspective, like you need a lot of us to, fend off bears and predators and stuff like that. So it is in our nature to get people to accept us, and we want to feel that sense of belonging. And it drains you emotionally to have people constantly rejecting you, constantly disrespecting you, constantly like, cutting you down for trying to do your job. So yeah, like we've done sales for a long time. There's always these outreach goals for sales reps and sellers, even sellers who smash their quotas, famously struggle to hit their dial numbers. It is hard to pick up the phone. So what do you think is the hardest part? Why is that so consistent?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, we're not, we want to be accepted. It doesn't feel good. We're getting rejected and yelled at. It's not cool. It's not fun to do that. So I think it comes from a few different places. I mean, one, you have to believe in what you're selling at least a little bit. It makes it a lot easier. That's for sure. Like, that's why politics, you can get people to like phone bank, and call and about some cause or, something, and they'll keep doing it because they're like, no, I got to do this. This is like the most important thing in the world. So there's that part of it. Maybe you're just in the wrong place. Maybe you just like don't like what you're selling and you think it sucks and you don't believe in the company and you don't think that they're going to even, deliver for the customers. And then maybe that's something that you need to change there. That could be a shift, maybe find something that you like more. Maybe it's not sales. Maybe it's just what you're selling. You're not invested enough. It doesn't feel good. I mean, and then there's, another side of it too, is just, maybe you're not being yourself enough to like, feel like you did the best that you could do. Like you're listening to bad advice from your manager, from, other people, and you're just using the same tired script that you don't like. So that doesn't feel good either. So maybe it's a shift that you have to do either with what you're saying or mentally, or maybe you need a different job, something that's more fun, something you believe in.
Yeah. Well, what about the other side of that? So, yeah, maybe the problem is like you don't believe in the process that you're selling or the product that you're selling. But what about when you have to sell yourself? We just did Gimme Gimme, which was a lot of self-promotion. I coat a lot of my stuff with a candy layer of comedy on top because a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. It's still something I struggle with, though. It is easier for me to put on a character and like explore the comedy of selling myself than it is to go be like, hey, I'm Chris Bogue, go give me a pile of money because I can make you a bigger pile of money. I like there's a part of me that's always kind of questioning myself. And what do you recommend? I mean, you just said you help people who are lesbians try to figure out like how to deal with that. So like, how did you get to the point where you were comfortable treating yourself as a product that you were willing to ask for what you're worth for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's something I've actually struggled with a lot. I mean, of course, you get down sometimes and you go through ups and downs, but I think that I consider myself just a capable person that people should listen to. And I always have felt that way. Like I'd love to, go up and talk to the class, and I was a teacher and I like to be in front of people. And I feel like, I have something to share. I have something to say. I have something to, impart to you. And in our short time together, whatever that is, whether it's a semester or a day or for 2 minutes on a cold call or 20 seconds, I could do something with that and, impart something because life is short. So yeah, public speaking, that kind of thing has always been like, that's like an opportunity. That's like so cool because I can be whoever I want to be in that moment, and you can also reinvent yourself. I mean, I have my political side, I have my sales side, I have all these different things that I can do. And to me, that's part of the human experience. Like I want to be here and be as many humans in a way. I'm just, one body, but I want to have as much human experience as I possibly can. And how do you do that? You have to put yourself out there. You have to talk to more people. You have to, do that. So I don't know how to teach somebody how to have that passion and for just the human experience and to want to experience as much as they possibly can while they're here in the short time. But that's how I look at it. I look at it as I'm having an experience. I'm an observer. I'm a soul and I have a body. So whatever my body is doing and whatever it's dialing or like that's I'm observing. Like the soul is actually there observing. So I look at it like that, and I can kind of, in a way, disassociate from actual physical actions and just take in the experience. And that's how I live everything and how I do everything. I just want to experience more and more.
Yeah, I want to go a little deeper into this because I quite literally turn myself into multiple different people. Like the audience literally just watched me put on a character, scream a bunch of nonsense at them.
That's fun, right?
Yeah, well, because that's me, you know. And it was one of these things where it's like, the more I coach people to do this, people will tell me like, oh, well, that's my like, I couldn't do that on LinkedIn, you know. Like there's part of them that they're like, oh, I want to say X and Y and Z, but I don't think that would play on LinkedIn. And I'm like, the bar is pretty damn low on LinkedIn, folks. Like, it's hard to do worse than the cringe that already exists on LinkedIn. If you go be the slightest bit entertaining, you know, you can do it. But I want to hear about this multiple versions of Heidi type thing. Do you have like different kind of, I don't want to call it a character, but do you have different like attitudes you kind of slip into depending on who picks up that phone?
Not really. I'm pretty much always myself. I meant more like phases of my life, but of course, I mean, if somebody's super chill, I'm staying super chill. That's more my natural state. If they're really excited and they're like, you know, going off, then I'll bounce back on them, you know, and I'll go with what they're doing. But I wouldn't say I have different personalities. It's more just like, I want to have these different experiences in my life. And if I'm being a cold caller right now, I mean, that might not last forever. It probably won't, but I'm going to put my all into it and, you know, see how fun it can be. I've done, you know, so many different things. I lived abroad, taught, you know, worked in all these different things. And it's just like, I want to experience what that's like. Like, what's it like to live in another country and you can't speak the language and you're like in a night market and you're trying to feed yourself. Like, that's, you know, I'm observing what that's like and how I'm experiencing it. And sure, people laugh at you, you mispronounce words in their native tongue, you know, you try to order a dumpling and you end up saying you want to order a pink, you know, elephant in the sky or something weird because it's like you don't get your tones wrong in Chinese. But yeah, it's just like I'm having that experience. I don't take it personal because I'm just observing that and I'm just, you know, putting myself in that situation to experience what that's like. What's it like to be that person? I'm not thinking of myself as that person because I'm detached from that. That's not something, you know, it's not me.
Interesting. You know, the way I was always taught to think about it, and the way Chicago teaches improv at the Second City, you know, they always say, wear your character as a thin veil. You know, they always said, when you're out there as a character, you want to wear your character as lightly as you would a cap that you could take off, you know? So if you're a dad, sometimes like channeling dad mode is like how to go, you know? And then sometimes you got to be the student and let the other person be the teacher. And I've always thought of it as like leaning into different versions of yourself. And like, even when we were talking earlier about like being a middle child, you know, so I'm not a sports guy. I don't follow professional sports. And that's a huge hindrance to me as a salesperson. Most of the people in sales, they're up on sports. And that's the easiest way. Like, you get a sports fan on the phone, you're both connecting. And like, there's been salespeople who they're like, oh, how about those Cubs? And I'm like, oh God, I wish I was actually following this more closely. I can't keep up with you. But the only time I would talk about sports was when they would lose terribly. I would cold call somebody and they'd be like, how are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm licking my wounds. The Bears really, really blew it last night and everybody's dunking on me. You know, they're just rubbing it in my face.
Self-deprecating.
But what I've done is I've just given them permission to do that too. You know, if they want to go ahead and give me some shit, because of the Bears, they can do it. And I can retreat into that role of being that middle child because that's natural for me. And again, it's like, I'm allowing them to do the thing they want to do.
Yeah.
They want to gloat.
Yeah, that's the point, really. I mean, you're coming up front with it. It's like, what's the best way to, overcome an objection? It's like, get ahead of it. Like, be ahead of the objection before, you know what they're thinking. So just go ahead and say it, and you don't have to be perfect. You never have to be perfect because nobody is. And everybody's too worried about what people think about them, to worry about what, they're thinking about you. They're not even thinking about you. They think about you for 2 seconds and everybody's so insecure that nobody cares anymore. And so, everything is the same, like being an influencer on LinkedIn, be on social media, being in sales, being a politician, like the people that people relate to a lot are the ones that like just say it. Like, I think it was like, I don't know, George W. Bush was like, when I was younger, was like, he had all these issues, when he was younger. And he just said like, yeah, when I was young and dumb, I was young and dumb, and he just got ahead of it. And that's what the advice they always give you in politics too. Oh, there's a scandal going to come out, get ahead of it. Because if you're ahead of it, then like, no, what are they going to say? Like, I already said, like, I'm an idiot. Like, what are you going to do? Like,
well, so like, how do you do that in sales? Can you give an example to the audience of how you solve an objection by getting ahead of it?
Sure. I mean, probably if they're like, it's the middle of the day, I'm calling them. I'm like, this is probably the last thing you want to do right now. If you have half a minute, could I just let you know why I reached out? And then you could go back and, do whatever, horrible thing you got to do or whatever it is, it's just, you're getting ahead of whatever, they're thinking. That's kind of why I ask like, well, how's your day going? Cause I can tell their vibe, even if they don't tell me. If they just say like, yeah, it's going all right. How's your, like, I know, I'm like, it sounds like you're about as tired as I am, or like just whatever it is. And it sounds like the last thing you want to do is talk to like some random person, but could I tell you why I reached out anyway? All right, sure. You're getting ahead of what that they're thinking. And you just say it. You just say, I'm annoying, I'm bugging you in the middle of the day. Can I tell you why I reached out, or should we just end this here? Like, whatever it is, just get ahead of it.
Yeah. I guess that's why we called the show How to Be Annoying, right? If we go out there and we say that we're annoying, then like no one can make fun of our LinkedIn content. Oh God, we're so annoying.
Well, you have to be persistent, right? It's like another way to look at it. That's like a reframing in your head. It's like, it's the skit that you did for this, first you call me and then you do a billboard and then you do Old Timey Puppet Show and, and I'm like, this is annoying, and it's like, but yeah, I'll do the show, it's like, you're so persistent, it's like the whole concept of like, you're being persistent and people appreciate that. That's one of like the oldest rules in life is like persistence gets rewarded eventually, right? And so people can call it annoying just because like everybody's bombarded with the, this type of messaging now and they think it's annoying. It's like, it's not, well, is it annoying if it's relevant to you and that person keeps reaching out until you're like, yes, I'll do it. Cause I want to do that. I do want to be on your show, Chris. Like, I'm just giving you a hard time. I have defenses about people asking me to do something. So I'm going to say no and no and no. But since it's so hyper relevant to me and I really do want to do it, eventually I will say yes. So it is a fine line, but persistence always does get rewarded as long as like, it's relevant to that person and it's, not a massive ask, I guess, as long as it's in their realm of possibility.
Yeah. I feel like with the content that helps me so much because I can just put it out there and that allows people to engage with me in a context where they don't have to talk to me. Like they can just watch the video and maybe they don't even agree with it. But they don't have to sit here and like answer my questions about why they don't agree with it. They can just think what they think. And I can just keep track of like, who are the companies that are engaging with me? Who are the people that are following with me? Yeah. This quote here from Kay, for real though, my kids say I'm annoying. I tell them that's my job. Yeah. You know what? It is. And, outside of sales, I will say this too. The more I do sales, the more I realize like the tactics apply everywhere. And like, think about your friends that maybe you haven't talked to in a long time, right? Your friends, you reach out, you send them a text. Hey, how you doing? You don't get anything in response, right? It's easy to feel like maybe your friends hate you, but sometimes they've just got like 20 unopened texts on their phone and there's a bunch of dumpster fires burning and they try to write something and they think too much about what they're going to say and it falls by the wayside. And it's like, they say you need like 17 touch points minimum to get a deal over the line in sales. That's how life goes sometimes too. Sometimes people don't text you back and it's not because of anything they feel about you.
No.
If you want to stay in that person's life, you have to decide, is it worth it to keep trying, but
think about it. I have to call my grandma like 5 times before she picks up and it's not because she doesn't want to talk to me. She just like doesn't have her phone on her. She can't hear it, it's like, so it's just like if I was too scared of annoying my grandma, like, come on. Or like, I used to have a friend named Courtney and, she would never like respond to texts and calls, just forget about it. Her like voicemail was always full. So we literally had to go over to her house. That was like the only way. And, some people would be super annoyed by that, I guess. But like, that's the only way we could get a hold of her. We would just stop by, and she was kind of like training people in a way to just stop by her house, because that's like, ultimately what she wanted. Just like, come to me, like, I don't like to talk on the phone, I don't answer texts, but like, come by, let's hang out. And so, it's just you have to be persistent and kind of meet people where they're at and what they want to see and how they want to interact. And that's, I think, the great thing about video. Like, I mean, that was the number one way I got my message out. It was COVID. I couldn't go knock on doors, and I had my campaign manager was basically a videographer, and we would just do videos, and we would just post videos everywhere. Because it's like, no one's talking to me. I'm not going to be able to go shake hands, but people will sit and just hear what I have to say. I mean, who cares? It's like, in a way, it's like, it's just natural. It's why TikTok does so well and all these other things. It's just like, it's natural to just consume something and then just like think about it and move on to the next thing.
I'm going to ask about the opposite side of that then. So, we talk about persistence. We talk about, hey, you got to keep going out there. You got to keep trying. You got to pick up the phone. You can't stop. When do you decide this person is not worth chasing anymore? Like, I firmly believe I will not get anywhere with this person, and it's not a productive use of my time to talk to them anymore. Like, how do you figure out who falls into that bucket?
Well, they either tell you. If they tell you, then great. If they don't tell you, then hopefully, it depends on your industry and what we're talking about. But like, hopefully you have some amount of touches or tries. You're not going to make like 30 personalized videos to somebody that like never get any response, right? You have to have your limit, like whatever that is, like whether time constraints or what, how much you can automate or whatever it is. I don't know. Or like how many touch points you have, or how much capacity your email servers have, whatever it is. I mean, you have to like be realistic and be like, hey, whether it's 3 touch points or 7, or there's not a magic number, but you have to, decide like, hey, if I get no response, then this either isn't relevant, or they're like, in a hospital bed, or, whatever is going on in their life is just way more important. And so you can either say that like, hey, seems like this isn't a priority. This is totally cool. Like, have a great one. And then just leave it and just like, do not touch it again. Or sometimes reach back out in a year or 6 months, but it's just, I think you just have to decide for yourself. I mean, there's persistence, and then there's like, actually stalking somebody.
Yeah, and you know what? In sales, they're not that different. Like,
I'm pretty good at stalking people now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but again, it's like I am torn, because on the one hand, I see all these LinkedIn gurus just dunking on low quality sales outreach, and I'm like, come on, guys. Like,
it's just because it gets views and it gets likes. I mean, like, okay, I have my Twitter account. If I dunk on AOC, I get like 100,000 like clicks and likes, because it's like, that's spicy, Like, it's like, oh, this is like a popular person, influencer.
But she's quite like popular, and she's in
Congress.
Congress.
But she's also hated too.
I mean, I'm just more like, these are like sales leaders. These are people who are VPs of sales going through their spam folder to like make fun of low performance stuff.
Yeah. And it's just,
But again, I'll see the videos of people, like someone is screaming obscenities at them, and I don't get to that point, because like, if somebody's really seems like I just genuinely make them angry, I just make a point not to like sell my stuff to them anymore.
Yeah, that's called a hostile. That's why I ask them how they're doing, because if they're a hostile, they'll be like, what is this about? Like, it's just like that's what you call a hostile. If they're a hostile, you just like back off. You call them whatever you want, a troll, a hostile, whatever, a no, a closed loss. I don't care what you say, but like, yeah, there are some people that you just block, put on your block list. You're like, blacklist, never talking to them again, and that's just part of life. You only have so much time and resources and energy. So like, yeah, if somebody's literally just a horrible person, and you don't need that. You're looking for the people that like what you have, and that means you have to eliminate like a lot of people in the process, and that's the painful process. I mean, is really going through and like getting rid of the people and just blocking them out of your professional life.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to do that. I very much have a style like, I don't engage with trolls. I don't engage with haters. We had a hater on this event. Like, somebody was just like being a jerk about it. And I had someone text me, and they're like, see this guy? He's being like such a jerk. And I'm like, he's probably just joking. And I like commented something like funny in response. And they were like still like really mean about it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna block them then. And like, I don't even remember what that guy's name was. You know, he occupied my mental space for
Yeah.
like a couple minutes. And then I'm like, okay, well, this video I made with Heidi's blowing up. So I'm gonna go, you know, make that good for my business. I say this because like one person can really ruin your day, especially if you are like young in your career and like maybe you're not making a lot of money, maybe you're not like selling something you love and somebody like really hurts your feelings. Like it can be easy to think that that's just like gonna be everyone, you know?
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so
Well, some of that comes with age and wisdom, and some of that, you know,
yeah.
is just, you know, it's just life.
How do you not get rattled by it though?
I do. I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't. I mean, if somebody like really cusses me out or something, yeah, that hurts. I mean, like I'm human. Like it hurts. Like you got to walk away for a minute. You know, you whatever. You take a walk. You go do something else. You do something you enjoy. Sometimes you just take the whole day off. Sometimes I've just been at work and I'm like, I'm out. I'm clocking out. Like I just can't. And you know, and hopefully you have good management that accepts that, or you're self-employed and you can do it, and go do something else for a while because and you know it's not worth it. Like it's just not worth it. Whatever like like you're doing is not worth your mental health. Like it doesn't matter like the sale or the meeting or the hourly wage or the salary. I don't really care what it is. If you feel like garbage and it's making you hate yourself and you know you can't sleep and you're stressed out, like we've all felt those types of feelings, like been so stressed out about a job or something we have to do. You got to step away. Like if it's temporary, great. You can come back mentally, then awesome. If you got to just do something else entirely, then maybe you have to do something else entirely. Maybe that's what you have to do. And it might hurt, you know, it might sting. And either way, like you can't live there. I guess you just can't live there. You can experience it and feel it. It's part of the human experience to feel hurt and to feel, you know, ashamed or scared or, you know, rejected, but you don't stay there. You accept that that's a feeling and it's temporary and that it will go away.
Yeah, I wanted to say this just because we're getting to the end of our time here. So I want the audience to know that no matter who you see out there, no matter how high of a level they're doing it at, they have these feelings too. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and I got this quote here. There's a very kind quote. I can't see who posted it, but somebody said, "Where can I purchase a bottle of your energy, Chris?" Loving it. That stuff makes me feel really good. One of the most brutal comments I ever got was I posted a comedy video. I thought it was really funny. I got a bunch of positive comments. And then one woman just comments, "You're exhausting." Period. That was it. And for some reason, it just got to me. And I was going to say something rude. And then I was like, you know what? I just commented back, "Touche." And that was it.
Just lean into
And
it.
and she responded, she's like, "I thought you were going to go off on me." And I'm like, you know what? That's what she wanted. She
Exactly.
was trying to
when she
rattle
said
me.
"You're exhausting," she meant I'm exhausted. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yes.
like, and so it's like you're like, okay, I accept that. I accept that I'm exhausting. I'm exhausting you. Probably everything's exhausting you, right? Like you're probably exhausted.
Yeah.
When people are like, they just kind of melt away, you know?
No. Mary, I love to see it. Mary is getting better at this. She's learning to go out there. And again, there's a million reasons why someone says no to your sales ask that have nothing to do with you. Like
yeah, most of them do. Probably 99% of them have nothing to do with you.
Yeah, you literally might have caught them on the worst day of their life.
Dude,
They just like they got some hospital bill they can't afford. They're going something with
Somebody
their family.
died.
Somebody died, you know, and then your cold call picks up and, "Hey, I'm Heidi. Can I talk
I
for
can't handle
17
this.
They're just like, "No, you know what? It's not a good time." And you're just like, yeah, that's not because Heidi isn't a good cold caller. That's just because you can't win them all, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, that's how it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a lot of that, and that's sales and that's life. And there's going to be a lot of rejection, but there's also a lot of good stuff too. And, you know, sometimes maybe, I don't know. I used to have jobs where I would like, if somebody yelled at me, I'd like go and call like one of my favorite customers, you know, if you have like a book of business or something, and like, they would just be awesome and so sweet and cool. And like, you know, you can go call like somebody that already loves you, you know, you just like go talk to them.
Yeah.
And it totally switches you around. You're like, oh wait, like people do love me. Like this is worth it. Like, you know, what I'm doing is helping people. And that person was just, they're in their own world. And that's not something I can control. Things just happen, you know, and I can't control how somebody's going to feel or, you know, react to me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Heidi, I could talk with you about this all day. Unfortunately, we are at the end of our time here. We're just going to close out here. Again, couple notes to our wonderful sponsors today. Allego, if you're considering a program like Gong or Chorus, just get Allego instead. Everything plays really nicely. It's super cool. Scan the QR code if you want to go check them out. Follow Enable Minutes. Amazing sales advice, updates all the time, awesome personalities. I'm in there sometimes. Maybe Craig will reach out to Heidi. I would do that if I was running Enable Minutes because she's fantastic. But no matter what, get great content there. Scan the QR code. You can check out Heidi if you want to go to ladypolaris.io. And of course, you could buy all my bullshit because that's the only reason why I'm able to make these comedy videos is from the companies that buy the coaching, from the individuals who buy the coaching and buy my digital products. Go to chrisbogue.io and go out there and be annoying. I promise you're not as annoying as you think you are. There are people out there who are way more annoying than you with way less shame, doing okay for themselves. And reach out to us if you ever want to talk about this stuff because it's hard. So Heidi, can you just take us out with one more time where the audience should go and why they should reach out to you?
Yeah, please go to my website and check out a cold call that I did that made Josh Brown call me the smoothest cold caller. And get in contact with me if you need any help, with your reps having better phone conversations or yourself, or if you need any help getting things set up with automation for your business, happy to help. Political consulting too, always down to help political candidates. And yeah, would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you. And for fans of the show, thank you for showing up today. Thank you for enjoying the comedy sketch. We've got some wonderful guests coming up later this month. As always, we have more comedy, so go ahead, ring the bell. I have new comedy all the time, new shows all the time. And you can find previous episodes of Chris Bogue or of Chris Sells His Soul wherever you get podcasts. So I have started putting these out again. I'm releasing trailers of all the old comedy sketches and interviews, giving it new life. And the reason why it takes a long time to put the audio podcasts out is because I edit them and I make sure they're really nice and smooth and easy to listen to. So go check out Chris Sells His Soul wherever you listen to podcasts. Heidi Briones, thanks for coming by.
Thanks, Chris. It's been awesome.